Just days ago, the Progressive Governors Forum, led by Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma, as well as the leadership of the National Assembly, led by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, officially endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the APC's sole candidate for 2027. The motion was seconded by Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani, signaling strong unity among APC governors.
But what can we say of this unity? Is it sincere, or does it mask underlying fears about the party's electoral prospects, as not everyone, particularly within the ruling party, appears to be on board with this endorsement, especially as they believe these endorsements signal uncertainty rather than confidence of the chances of the party going into the 2027 general elections. Now, one of such party chieftains is a two-term former federal lawmaker from Cross River, now chairman of the Governing Council, Federal College of Education in the Akwa Ibom State, Honorable Cletus Obun. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining Breakfast Central.
And thanks for having me.
The first question will be your thoughts about the endorsement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Do you think that this is a political strategy, or is the APC just really making a panic move?
Well, at the risk of being misunderstood, my query about endorsement is that unless my lexicon, my political lexicon is failing me, endorsement presupposes an outsider trying to build confidence in an insider. And that is to say that endorsements are normally coming from either politically neutral people or politically opposing people. Endorsements don't come from within the same political party. And therefore, the use of the word, the terminology endorsement coming from APC governors, coming from APC National Assembly members, coming from national executive of the party, for me is a misuse of words. I think the proper word to use is a vote of confidence rather than endorsement. If you are supporting your presidential candidate and asking him to go for a second term, you are stating the obvious. Clearly, it was a hot air that means nothing, because essentially, even as governors or as presidents, in all executives positions, especially in all democracies, the right of first refusal belongs to the incumbent. It is not in anybody's mouth, whether the party organs or anybody within the party structure, ministers or anybody coming to give an endorsement. It is a right of first refusal in any democracy. Unless the incumbent indicates that he's not interested in running, then that place becomes vacant, and then you now start looking for an alternative. Once there is a shake-up or an attempt to start to do endorsement, for me, it is an indication that something is wrong. I don't find anything special about endorsing an incumbent. Nobody in APC has a choice about the presidency of Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu as a sitting president. His records have already endorsed him. He has already been sitting, he's already sitting there, like all governors, on first term. It is until they say they are not interested before you can come out to start saying, look, there is no vacancy, we are not giving you. This is the next point of call. Otherwise, whatever is happening by way of endorsement here is just getting everybody busy for doing nothing. And like I said elsewhere, it is nothing but political masturbation. We are engaging in political masturbation, especially when it is barely 2 years into the tenure, halfway into the tenure. I know that in the third year, politicking starts with congresses, center stage, and the president has demonstrated that he can proceed without any interruption. So what is the panic mood of coming to talk about endorsements? What you should be saying is, look, party manifesto has been captured, the president is doing what ought to be done, and our manifesto is being manifested. Therefore, we give you a vote of confidence and encourage you to go on the trajectory you have taken, which has shown unprecedented courage in taking decisions that will take the country forward rather than looking for the next election. So this president has shown that he is into governance and that he can take the hard decisions that can take the country out of the woods and take us on the path of economic prosperity and political stability. And I see that there is no need and no use coming to talk about endorsements at this point. It's distracting, it's unnecessary, and I don't think that that is what the president needs now. What he needs now to encourage him is to say, look, we have confidence in you and you can proceed along that line, because that also comes to our own ideology. It speaks to our manifesto as a party, and therefore we have confidence in you that you can continue. Not about second term. Nobody can challenge Ashwaju as we stand today in the party or outside the party. So the issue of vote of confidence is what should have been required in order to booster him and to make the party say you are doing the same. And I expect that the party should have an organ that does monitoring of implementation of party manifesto. That's where we should be now as a party. And that is what we should be doing now. Even with the governors. We are getting money from petroleum subsidy. Now that fuel subsidy money is getting to the state. What are they doing with the money? The party should monitor that. The party should monitor that. It's not enough to just be talking about tickets. What are you doing with our ticket as presently sitting as a government in the states, in the local governments, and at the national level? If Ashwaju is doing so much at the national level, what are the governors doing? The party should be interested in that and also proceed to show Nigerians that our manifesto is manifested and that we can proceed along these lines and then give confidence to our people and to the populace and to the party. Admitting people, especially the issue of decampment and people joining the party. Yes, I see an implosion coming. We are not afraid and we are happy that people are joining us, but I'm not aware and I don't want to believe. In fact, only this morning, you are hearing that the president is even intervening when the FCT minister is going to implement the law. He's going to implement the law. So I imagine that there is no way in which we can have somebody trying to get Nigerians out of order. So I imagine that we are going out of order not to implement other those things. So I think that the president is in order and everybody must have to come out. So I think that is it. That is it.
Honourable, I'm glad you set the record straight. The proper use of political lexicon should be a vote of confidence and not an endorsement. And I'm also glad that you said, or you suggested a project monitoring unit or division from the party to, follow the manifesto and make sure the party is, implementing the things they promised in their manifesto. That brings me to this question. Tomorrow, in 2 days' time, we will be marking 2 years of the Bola Tinubu administration. And if you follow the news cycle, there's been talks about 2027, and quite a number of Nigerians feel, it's too early and we're getting distracted from issues of governance. That how can we be talking 2027 when we haven't finished dealing with the problems of 2025? Which school of thought do you belong to? You could walk and chew gum at the same time. You could campaign and also do the work at the same time. Or do you think it's too early, all this campaign talks, and it's a big distraction from governance issues, which we have many of them?
Nothing has detracted from governance. This is part of the politics. Because whatever you are doing now is going to also show again at the campaign grounds. So campaign itself is about what you are doing now. And so at any stage, the next election is going to be discussed. Because if you see the opposition, they are telling you why you should vote out APC. So they are already campaigning against the APC. So APC has a duty. And it is the duty of the opposition to do that. It is their right within the political space under a democracy. So also it is the right of the APC to do what it is doing and to say, look, we are marching on. In politics, it is not the church where you say what the right hand do, the left hand must not know. In the case of democracy and politics, what the right hand does, both the toes and the hair, every hair on the head must know. Therefore, if you don't say I am, nobody will say you are. So it is part of the duty to get the people know what you are doing, and if you don't do so, in any case, what are you doing now? If APC says nothing, what will you be doing in the media? What will you be reporting? You are reporting a scorecard to say, judge us on the basis of our performance. That performance is what we are seeing, that people have seen and are coming to join, including sitting governors. Incumbent governors are coming to join. Sitting senators are coming to join the party, meaning the president is doing what is good, and the party is therefore going on the right path and carrying out its manifesto, which is now pleasing to most people, and they are moving to join. So there is nothing wrong, essentially, with what they are doing. What is wrong is to continue to talk about endorsing incumbents. That's the point I'm making. We are shaping our democracy. We're just barely, for the first time, carrying out a 24 non-stop political activity as a democracy. For that reason, it is important that the building blocks are set and that our template is correctly put. It is not just enough to say I'm APC, therefore whatever APC does is correct. I won't sit here and tell you that. As a Democrat, as a progressive, I would like to see the right things being done at the right time, in the right places, by the right people. And that is why I tell you this morning that it is the duty of APC to announce what it has done, the milestones it has achieved. And it's the duty of the opposition to interrogate every action taken by the APC government. But to say that we shouldn't announce, we shouldn't proclaim on the mountaintops, we shouldn't carry our megaphones and put on to say that this is what we are doing, is completely to shut us out of the political space. And I think it is not also right. Because when you say it is early, when is it early, when is it late? Is it that when we perform and do roads and do nail fund and do engage in international diplomacy and put Nigeria on the path of stability and give us respectability within the international community, and we should not say so? Is it when we go and fumble and stumble that we should be praised and then condemned? So when the opposition says we are not doing well, our duty is to keep quiet and not to come out to showcase what we have done and what we are doing. I think that it is all a balancing act, and our democracy is the better for it, because it improves our condition, it improves our democratic space, and keeps us going, and let even both the media and the full state of the realm to do its job by reporting accordingly what is happening, what is right, and what is wrong. In that way, we'll be partner beating ourselves into the rightful position in all our errors, in all our right things that we are doing. We should be able to project it and proclaim it on the mountaintops.
In hindsight, looking at some of the most difficult positions or decisions the APC administration has taken, the floating of the Naira and the removal of fuel subsidy on day one of his administration, looking back and looking at the effects of some of these policy decisions, do you feel, if you could turn back the hands of time, the administration should have done certain things differently?
I do not think so. Please, I want Nigerians to note something which has been very, very misunderstood. And I don't know why even the managers of the Presidential Information Unit have not been able to correct this. In his last broadcast to the nation, the last president, President Buhari, had told Nigerians that by June of 2023, subsidy will be removed. That was the last broadcast of the president who was about to leave. He said so. So as at the time President Buhari came into office, there was no more subsidy. There is no way anybody would have ever interrupted us. So I imagine that people are getting it wrong when they said the president did this or did not do that. It's not correct. The president only meant no subsidy. And when he said subsidy is gone, he was not the one who said so. It was Buhari that said so. In any case, don't forget that as far back as 1987, under the Babangida administration, he attempted on the recommendations of the IMF to remove oil subsidy. I was an undergraduate then. Nigerian students went on nationwide protests from Jos to Calabar, from Ife to Ahmadu Bello. There was massive protest that resulted in the destruction of properties, and there was a lot of suspension of academic activities in most Nigerian universities because of oil subsidy. It has been there, even under the military. Attempts to remove subsidy, which everybody agreed but was afraid of taking charge of. So this president coming to do, he would have as well said, yes, the last president said subsidy is gone, but because of what is happening now, I'm just coming into office, let me postpone it. But from day one, he said, it is already gone before I even came in here. And don't forget that all presidential candidates, all presidential candidates agreed that they were going to remove subsidy. So he was saying nothing new. Did they say they were going to remove it after taking certain measures? They didn't give us a timetable in their manifesto. But this president was very clear. His manifesto was clearly spelled out in line with the APC manifesto. And he said to you that subsidy must go. And when he came, he took it off. Today, there is more money eased off from that particular subhead, and revenues have been generated. And no state governor has denied the fact that they have almost tripled their federal allocation on account of that singular subhead that the president took. So if that is happening, we expect citizens, civil society groups, student groups, and even individuals, public spirited organizations and individuals, to take on the state governors and say, this is what you are getting. What are you doing with it? We are not seeing that. On the contrary, we are busy, everybody is looking at what Abuja is doing. Abuja cannot construct markets. It is within the purview of local governments under our constitution. There are things that are under the concurrent list. There are things that are exclusive to the federal government. This is what we expect people to be questioning and interrogating. But what we get is about what the president is doing and not doing. Nobody is asking the governors any question. This is something that is very saddening. And I think even the media also must do us a favor by going to the states and asking what they are doing. We are not seeing enough of that. We are not seeing enough of that. And that now makes it look as if we are running a unitary government in which all that must happen in Nigeria on the streets of Ile-Ife, on the streets of Katagum, on the street of Potiskum, on the street of Gashua, Hadeja, Kirikasama, on the streets of Damboa, on the street of Biu, that everything that is happening there must come from Abuja. This is not indeed what ought to be and what should be. Nigerians must learn to interrogate the provinces, that is the states, must learn to interrogate the local government, because the autonomy of local government, which ought to even take place, couldn't come on. And it is rather about what it took even the federal government to ask for local government autonomy, something that civil society groups should ask for, something that even NOLGE, National Union of Local Government Employees, should deal with. None of them is asking the question. It rather took the federal government to go to court to insist on the local government autonomy. This is not how to run a federation. That is not part of our democracy. And we have laws, freedom of information, that requires and gives rights and privileges to individuals and citizens to ask questions and interrogate their government. We are not doing that. So I think that the state government has done that.
Honorable,
the federal government is doing enough.
We have nothing less than 30 seconds to go, and we'd like your thoughts on this final question from here. What do you make of the consistent shifting and movement, or you call it cross-carpeting, of politicians running into the APC? Aren't you worried that this could implode at some point in time?
It's bound to come, and I think APC must learn from what happened to PDP. Coming to bring everybody in, and then a situation in which people who are legacy members, those who are foundation members, are neglected for those who are coming in, is the highest form of irresponsibility, in which people who participated in forming a government are put on the backbench, and while those who are just coming in, that is where the point of implosion. The reward system must be directed at those who are foundation members, because they will only remain. But political migrants and migration cannot continuously make our democracy grow. But like I keep telling Nigerians, they rest assured that it is impossible to make a one-party state in Nigeria. It is not difficult, it is impossible. Because on its own, there are seeds of implosion in every of those circumstances. So APC, especially the leadership, must learn to ensure that it manages this influx of people, especially people who don't even believe in your ideology, but who for political survival are cross-carpeting just for the purpose of politics and for the purpose of an election or position, or for the largesse or for the patronage that they are going to get. Those type of people definitely will have to need a lot of political quarantine. They must be quarantined, given their own privileges, given their own opportunity to learn, and to also give democracy an air. And in fact, the space must be created for such persons in a manner that will not bring about divisions, that will not bring about implosions, that will bring instability. The internal workings and internal democracy must be respected, the constitution must be respected, and APC must be very careful not to fall into the banana peel that put out PDP, because this is exactly what is going to happen. Those who cannot maintain their home cannot turn around to become important.
Chairman of the, thank you so much. The Chairman of the Governing Council, Federal College of Education in DTEP, Akwa Ibom State. Thank you so much for joining us. Honorable Cletus Obun, we look forward to speak with you again some other time, and hopefully we can get to discuss some other aspects, especially the second year of the president. Thanks for your time. Thank you.